Hello everybody, welcome to another watercolor tutorial. Today we are painting another kind of pine inspired landscape, and I've done quite a few pine ones for January already. I'm assuming this is going to be released in January. If it's not, then this doesn't make sense, but yeah, I've done quite a few pine tutorials in January, and I mean, it just feels like the season for it. It's like kind of the post-holiday season, but it's still winter, and the pines are covered in snow, the pine trees, the evergreens, whatever you wish to call it. So we're gonna have a river running through ours, so it's kind of gonna look like a BC, British Columbia inspired landscape. So my river, I have green on my paintbrush, and I'm just kind of paving the path for this river like this. Obviously this is not the river because rivers aren't green, or you would hope that they wouldn't be green. But this is just going to be the base of kind of like the river bank. So it's basically, you can think of it as an S here. That's where both sides are just elongated all the way to the end. And I've kind of painted it at an angle. And you might want to work quickly depending on the type of watercolor paper that you have. I'm using 100% cotton. And even that is already starting to dry quite quickly. So I do want to work sort of quickly here. And I have my size 00 brush on hand because I'm going to be painting pines coming up from this. And I'm kind of using a technique where I just paint the stump or the trunk of the tree going all the way up, and then I just have all the branches coming off of it. Now, I don't really go over pine tree painting techniques in my videos anymore, simply because I have so many, and I say this in every landscape tutorial now that includes pine trees. So actually a bit of a change of plans here. I'm gonna try something else initially because this is drying very quickly, which is making me think this is not a cotton piece of paper. I took it, sometimes I combine sheets of paper in I don't think this is cotton because it's drying way too quickly for this to be cotton. Sorry. But like, see this streak here? I don't know if you can see that, but that should not be happening this quickly on a cotton piece of paper. It's a bit annoying, honestly. So my change of plans, I've covered the whole thing. Like, I basically just brought it up with water because it was drying really quickly for an unknown reason. I'm just gonna create a background of pines initially. So I've taken green pigment on my paintbrush. I'm starting at the base of my riverbank and just flicking my paintbrush upwards, and then because it's still wet, or at least it should be, you can kind of swish some horizontal lines through those tree trunks, and hopefully it'll create this illusion of pines. You don't have to be hyper precise here, simply because this is more meant to be like the background almost. So something like that. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and just do another layer over top. I am taking some black, and I'm even gonna take a little bit of blue just to cool down my green a little bit, add a little bit of variety to my color palette here, because the greens that I have existing, I'm not using my grabby palette that I have been using in recent videos because I was frankly too lazy to take it out because it was at the bottom of my art supplies for some reason, and I don't know if you can hear my baby in the back, but she's already starting to cry, so I don't have too much time to fuss over that. So this palette works for now. Obviously the other one I have like so many kinds of green, so many shades of green in that palette. I love that palette. Oh my gosh, I don't even have a paper towel. Luckily I painted my bathroom, so I just took some toilet paper. That'll do the trick for now. Okay, where are we in this process? So I'm gonna paint the bottom, I guess, as well. Yeah, I'm gonna paint the bottom and then we'll paint the river after, but the river, so it's gonna start out, it's gonna get narrower as we go along, obviously, because we want to make it look like it's kind of fading into the distance. Like so. And I'm just gonna fill this in because I'm not gonna get to it. Like, we're gonna be painting some trees over top here. They're gonna overlap the river. And so I am not gonna have a chance to paint them before this part dries. And obviously I don't want it to dry because then it'll have this harsh, ugly line, which is not the intention. So this is good for now. And this top part is obviously not totally dry yet, but what I'd like to do is start painting my more detailed pines over top while it's still a little bit wet. And that's okay because we are going to use, I'm going to switch to my quadruple zero brush, and I'm going to put a lot of pigment on the brush. So those two factors, the fact that I'm using a small brush and it's going to be highly pigmented, is hopefully going to allow it to stand out, the pigment to stand out, despite the background not being completely dry yet. So let's see, paint one here. So again, I really like using this brush because it's so thin that it lets me do these hairline brush strokes. Sort of like that. So that's kind of the effect that I was hoping to achieve, so I'm happy that it's working out. And you can make it as dark or as light as you'd like. This is a little too light, so I'm going to darken it in a second. By the way, I just have to make a disclaimer because I'm sure the YouTube police, aka some viewers, everyone's an authority online, you know, but I am not leaving my baby crying on her own. My husband is there tending to her. But it is almost time to feed her, so I'm going to have to finish this soon or speed this up so that I can go fulfill my primary responsibility, which is being a mother. So yeah, so I'm just, when you use a thin brush like this, when these kind of wispy brush strokes really create a beautiful illusion. They truly make the whole pine tree painting thing a lot easier. It looks so much more realistic and natural, in my opinion. Obviously not everyone is going to think that way, but so here I need to overlap this area. And then, so ideally I'm gonna go back and make these a little bit darker in a moment, because the pine trees that I'm painting now, like towards here, they're supposed to appear further away. And so you can do that by making them smaller, which is what I'm doing, but also by making them lighter. And if they're the same intensity as the first ones I painted, then obviously that's not helping our cause. So I'm going to go back over here and darken these, or maybe add some on top. So I've taken quite a bit of black and I know I probably say this in every single video where I paint pine trees, but you know, not everybody has seen all of my videos, or this might be the first time you're watching my channel. I do have a Skillshare class that kind of goes over 8 pine tree painting techniques that I have used in the past, or I still use, and kind of goes over in what scenarios you would use each technique, like one with sparser branches for the foreground and, you know, details like that. And I have a link in the description of every video that gives you a free trial on Skillshare. And so you can view my class, you can view other classes that are completely unrelated to watercolor. But I think I am pretty happy with this. Maybe just one more down here. Okay, that's pretty okay, I would say. So now we're gonna paint the river. I'm just nervous. I have the same problem every time when I use green and then I switch to blue. Some of that green is like saturated in my paintbrush, which is very annoying. So I'm kind of painting my paintbrush in the blue, rinsing it, and then re-dipping my paintbrush just to get the color I want. So yeah, this is being filmed in, it's end of November currently. You will be probably seeing this in January. Sorry, so I'm just filling that that river in with this blue. I've basically mixed black with the blue that I had. So you're welcome to do the same. I'm shortly going to switch to a thinner brush so that I can get in those tiny narrow sections. And I'm going to make the blue, I'm going to add water to the blue as we get further away. So yeah, it is the end of November. It's really beginning to feel festive. The village that I live close to just had like its annual Christmas market and Santa Claus parade and all that. And usually I vendor at this Christmas market, but because of my baby, I didn't do it this year. And I was so happy that I didn't do it because it was quite cold. And every year it's pretty cold and I always stand there shivering and wondering why I'm putting myself through this. It was really nice to just be a customer this time around and not a participant. So anyways, what was my point? That it's getting very festive here and I'm pretty excited for the holiday season. It's a lot of fun when, it's even more fun this year because we have a baby. It's like seeing all these things for the first time through her eyes kind of thing. Obviously she's an infant, so she has no idea what's going on, but it's still, you know, the prospect of it all. So I've just taken brown and I'm lining that brown just on the edge of the riverbank to create a bank, because right now it didn't look that way. So yeah, I've just added a brown layer just there. I kind of want to make this darker now, these trees. So let me just see. I don't want to keep adding pines because I don't want to overdo it. But that brown that I added, it separates this in a way that I don't like. Like it looks kind of amateur, but I mean, what are you gonna do? And in hindsight, I would have painted this river like a little bit lower because the pines that I wanted to overlap with the river, they're gonna have to start from here. It's just not working out exactly how I wanted, but whatever does, you know, you just gotta go with the flow sometimes. So, oh, my river is not dry, but whatever is, honestly, that's my biggest pitfall. So I can never wait for things to dry. I'm just very impatient and yeah. If I'm gonna be honest, I've been pretty low on painting inspiration lately. It hasn't exactly, like, I do it because I've been doing this for 4 years now and it's finally starting to come to fruition, but I'm starting, like, ever since my daughter was born, it kind of feels insignificant in comparison to the other things I could be doing. But I'm sure every new mother feels similarly, or maybe not. I mean, I still get feelings of like I wish I could go out and talk to adults more often, because we do live in a forest, so we're a little bit isolated. We share a car, so when my husband takes the car to work, I don't have a car. I can walk into town, but it's an hour. And I do that every day. So because if I didn't, I would stay cooped up all day and probably become very sad. So I started walking into town every day. So I walk there and back. And usually I have like a small errand to run, like I need to go to the bank or the post office or something. So going there and back is about 2 hours. So I do that walk every day, gets me some exercise. We get some fresh air, baby and I. So yeah, I'm just painting pine trees over top. I'm trying to overlap them, but because my foreground here is still a little bit wet, it's a bit challenging to get it to stand out. But that's obviously my fault. I am too lazy to wait. So I ordered, my mom plays Catan with her 2 friends every single week. It's a board game for those that aren't familiar with it. It's kind of like a strategy game. It's a lot of fun. When we first bought the game, we played it every single, like 2-3 rounds every single day. So we quickly got sick of it, but my mom and her friends have been doing this for years now. They, every Friday and Saturday, and it's even more often in the summer, I believe, they have, like, they play at least 3 games of Catan, and then they play cards as well, a few rounds of cards. So they start at like 5 p.m. and they don't finish until 12 or 1 in the morning. I'm like, I wish I had friends like that. That would be pretty fun. But they've been playing the same expansion pack for, I don't know, a year, 2 years now. So my husband had the brilliant idea to buy her for Christmas one of the other expansion packs. So that's what I just did. So I'm very excited. You know, when you find, my mom is like a very difficult person to shop for because it's not that she has everything, she just doesn't want anything. Like her hobbies are very simple. She's a very simple like person. I hope you understand what I'm saying. Like just very, she's not hard to please. But as a result of that, it's so hard to shop for her because she doesn't want anything. Like if she loves reading, but if you buy her a new book, she's like, why? I can buy like 20 books for that price at a garage sale or whatever. So when you find, like, this is a really good gift. This is a gift where I'm excited to see her reaction from. So, I wish I pulled out my hairdryer so this would dry a little bit faster. You can paint as many of these trees in the foreground as you wish. I'm honestly not very happy with how this is turning out. We're 23 minutes in and this looks a little amateur. Like the water doesn't look super realistic. I'm not very happy with this, but what are you gonna do? Maybe I'll add some grass because I'm not gonna paint pine trees everywhere. That would kind of defeat the purpose of this foreground area. But I am going to fill this in with maybe different greens or something. This. All right, guys, I need to go. I think it's time to feed my baby. So I'm gonna try and finish this up fairly quickly. But I've just taken some green and I'm filling in these areas here, kind of dabbing it because I do want to add texture to it. This area just needs to dry a little faster so that I can paint more pronounced pine trees. I'm gonna just pull out my hairdryer. Okay, that is probably still a little bit wet, but I'm gonna try it out anyway. I just want to go over, or should I just create a new one? Okay, yeah, so that is a little bit drier. So let me just pop a few more trees in here. So back, because I'm painting more pine trees and this is a timely process, or a time-consuming process, I'll continue with my little spiel about gifts. So I've tried for years to do like a no gift thing. I'll get gifts for my nieces because they're kids, but I really have tried to make the holidays about just being together as a family and not doing the gift. Like, of course I appreciate receiving gifts, but they mean so little to me, like material items, that I'd rather people not stress about stuff like that. Like, what means a lot to me is people giving me their time and spending time with the people that you enjoy spending time with your loved ones and with your friends and whatnot. So I've tried to do the no gift thing. I've like talked about it with family members and said, hey, let's not do gifts this year. And they agree, and then they always end up gifting something. And then I feel bad because I stuck to not doing any gifts, and then I have nothing to return, and I feel bad about it. So then it never really works out, unfortunately. With my husband and I, we have stuck to it. Like, we stopped doing gifts for every occasion, for birthdays and for Christmas. We stopped doing that years ago, and it's so much nicer because when I would give my husband gifts, I went like all out, and I'm not joking. Like, when we were doing long distance, I surprised him. Like, I flew to Europe and surprised him in Europe. And it was it took me like 2 months to plan all this out. And then I did a scavenger hunt. Like, his mom's, like, it was this whole thing where he thought his mom set up a scavenger hunt on my behalf, that I had sent a package. But, you know, I was at the end of the scavenger hunt waiting for him. Point is, I've been very elaborate with my gifts for my husband since the beginning. And so when we decided not to do gifts anymore, I was very happy about that. And it just allows us to focus on, you know, things like just making a really nice dinner and dessert and spending time together and experiences. Like, I have nothing against experiences, gifting ways to spend time together. So at least, and I would like to keep that going for our kids. I want Christmas to be like a no gift thing. And instead, you know, give back, like go volunteer somewhere, do something for others during Christmas rather than it being like a gift thing. And that's just my opinion. Obviously, everybody has their own ways of doing things and their own family traditions and whatnot, but that is what I am hoping to stick to. We have a very small house. We don't have room for a lot of items anyways, so yeah, maybe this will inspire you to think outside the box and maybe gift experiences this year instead of material items. Although no, because you're going to see this in January, so this will not be relevant anymore. Okay, I don't know. This is not really complete. There's something missing here, and I can't quite figure out what. I'm going to turn this into a winter scene since this is going to be released in January. So I'm going to sprinkle some snow on here. And hopefully that will help complete this, complete the look. So I'm using acrylic paint here to sprinkle my snow because if I had my other palette, my Grabby palette, which I have linked in the description, I wouldn't need to use acrylic paint because it is extremely opaque, and even the white watercolor, if you put it on opaque enough, it will show opaquely on your piece of paper. So you can keep going with this as much as you would like. I found that if you tap the brush with the paint on it against another brush rather than tapping another brush against your paintbrush, it'll prevent those streaks that kind of form, where it's like a line of paint. But you can do whatever you'd like. Anyways, that is probably it. Maybe I should just add some like snow to some of my pines, my evergreens. Often I will add deciduous branches coming across my painting because that really completes a painting if it looks empty, kind of like this one does. But I've been doing that so much that I don't want to overdo it and have it on like every single painting. But I'm thinking about it. While I'm applying the snow, I have time to think about whether... Do you guys ever have where you randomly taste something in your mouth, but it's more of like a mental taste, but it kind of comes through physically as well? Because I just tasted this very specific soup that I haven't had in years, that my aunt used to make. And that was some good soup. It's kind of weird though that I tasted it randomly. Okay, so I think I am okay with the snow there on these guys. I said this in a previous tutorial that was similar. It was super green and then I added snow and I was like, this does not make sense. It looks like summer and it's snowing in the summer painting, but you gotta do what you gotta do. I'm gonna add some kind of bigger drops. I'm excited because shortly I will be painting tutorials for Valentine's Day, and those are more like a very different style than these landscapes, and I kind of need a break from landscapes because I've been painting a lot of pine tree landscapes, and as much as I like pine trees, they all start to look the same after a while, and you need a bit of a refresher or a fresh start, I should say. So I'm gonna peel this off if I can. There we go. And that's our river pine painting. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will be sure to see you in the next tutorial.